So this is a video on the Bodyguard infusion pump. It's a dual channel pump that Lifeline One uses to give specific amounts of medications and fluids to their patient. What we're going to do during this video is we're going to cover how to clear a previous infusion that was given. We're going to talk about the two types of tubing that Lifeline uses to administer medications and fluids. We're going to talk about the different configurations that the pump can be used. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to check the previous infusion that was given, and we're going to go ahead and clear that out so that we can make sure that our patient receives the proper amount of fluid or medication that we have intended. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the pump on. You can see right now it's on channel 1. I'm going to go ahead and hit the info button right there. You'll see that whoever used the pump last infused 42.3 of 42.3 mLs, and there's 0 remaining. I want to go ahead and clear that out so that I make sure that I have accurate ins and outs of my patient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and push the stop button down, and you'll see that it clears that out. Then I'm going to go ahead and rotate to the other channel, channel 2, by hitting the channel button right there. Again, I'll push the info button. You can see that somebody gave 334.3 of 342.8. So again, I'm going to go ahead and clear that out by pushing and holding in the stop button and clearing that out at this time. Okay, so let's go ahead and address some tubing. So the first type of tubing that we use is the half set, is what we call it, or a syringe pump tubing. A couple of things to note when using the syringe pump is the first thing is that the medication needs to be labeled with the medication name, the milligrams per mil, and the total medication. That should be visible so that you and your crew member can visualize that at all times. When we go ahead and use the syringe pump tubing, it's usually for a medication that was in a glass vial, or when the volume will be of small amounts. You'll notice that we don't have a sheath or a holster to go ahead and hold the syringe on, so it's our culture to go ahead and tape the medication onto the pump itself. When doing so, you're going to see that it creates a nasty little bend here in the syringe pump or the half set tubing, which will lead to a upstream occlusion. So to remedy that, we can easily add just an extension tubing or a J-loop to that, and that will prevent that nasty little occlusion from occurring. Okay, so to prevent that upstream occlusion from occurring, what we've done is just went ahead and added in a IV extension tubing there, and that'll prevent that upstream occlusion from happening. So the other type of tubing that we use is what we call a full set. A full set has an IV spike on it. It's used for a bag of medication or fluid. One key to using the full set successfully is to drain the air from the bag. When you're doing the transport environment, the bags often get dropped or tipped, and that'll suck a air bubble into the pump and will cause a air alarm. So if you drain the air from it, purge the air from the bag, oftentimes it'll prevent that alarm from occurring. Alright, let's discuss on how to prime the tubing and put it into the channel. So the first thing that we need to do is go ahead and put the tubing into the channel. When we do that, you'll notice that there is a key, which is this black plastic portion, and a lock right here. When we push the tubing in, we want to push that key into the lock, and it's counterintuitive. You're not going the large side into the lock, you're actually going the small side into the lock, and you're pushing that until it's flat and flush with the channel. Then you're closing the door on top of it. To open the door, there's a little lever on the bottom of it, and you just want to pull that towards you, and that's how you'll open the door. But now our tubing is flush. There's two different ways that we can prime the tubing. The first way is a way that we commonly do it, and that is just to squeeze the bag and get the fluid actually through the tubing before it's in the door itself. The other way that we can do it is we can use the pump to prime the tubing for us. So another way to prime the tubing is to use the pump to do it. So we're going to go ahead and use the prime bolus. So it's on continuous. We're going to hit start. We're going to push prime right there. It's going to say disconnect our patient. Press OK to start, and we're going to go ahead and hit that. You'll see that what it's doing now is going to go ahead and prime the tubing through the channel, and that way we can ensure that we don't get an air alarm, air bubble, or an air embolus. So now that my tubing is all primed, I'm going to go ahead and start my infusion of propofol. I'm going to say that the patient that I picked up has a propofol infusion running at 25 mics per kilo per minute, and he's a 70 kilogram patient. You'll notice the first thing is that my channel 1 is on continuous. So I'm going to go ahead and push the stop button. I'm going to hold that down, and it's going to give me an option to go ahead and choose how I want to administer my fluid. I'm going to use the arrows to toggle through it. So I have continuous, intermittent, dose, or TPN. Of course, I want dose, and so I'm going to go ahead and select that and hit start or OK with that. And now I'm on channel 1 dose. Now what I need to do is pick my medication. So the pharmacy at Medical Center of the Rockies went ahead and they put in a ton of medications into our menu, and then we also have some generics if you can't find the specific medication that you're using. It is our policy to go ahead and use the specific if at all possible, and the generic as a last resort. You should never run a titratable medication under a continuous rate. It should always be under the dose menu. So let's go ahead and find propofol, and it's they're all alphabetical order. And so we've got propofol right now. So now I'm going to hit select or OK to go ahead and select that, and it's going to ask me the volume of diluent. I went ahead and withdrew this propofol from a 100 ml vial. So I'm going to say 100 mLs. I'm going to hit OK, and then it comes up with the drug added to the bag was 1,000 milligrams, and that is correct. It's 1,000 milligrams in 100 mLs, or 10 milligrams per 1 ml. So I'm going to select that. 10 milligrams per ml, 10 milligrams per ml. It's asking me what my patient's weight is in kilograms. We're going to say that he was 70 kilograms. So I go ahead and put that in, select it, and now it asks me how many mics per kilo per minute I want to infuse on that patient. We're running it at 25 mics per kilo per minute. Hitting start. Volume to infused, it's asking me 100. Right now I've only got about 40 mLs in my syringe, so I'm going to say no, I only want 30 mLs, and go ahead and select that. So now it gives me a menu of what I've selected. My dose, 25 mics per kilo per minute. My rate will be 10.5 mLs per hour. My concentration, 10 milligrams per ml, and I'm going to hit OK to confirm that. My patient's weight, 70 kilograms. The volume, 30 mLs, is what I want to have my total at, and the total time it's going to take 2 hours and 51 minutes. I'm going to select that, start infusion, yes. And so now I'm administering propofol to a 70 kilogram patient at 25 mics per kilo per minute. If I need to titrate that, so my patient, I've chosen to go up on the propofol to 35 mics per kilo per minute. All I have to do is just type in 35, and you can see it's 35 mics per kilo per minute. I'm going to hit OK to confirm that, and it's going to beep and tell me that there has been a change in my pump. Alright, so not only has the patient got propofol running, but they've also got a bag of crystalloid running, and so that bag of crystalloid normal saline is running at 125 mLs per hour. So I went ahead and primed my tubing already. I'm going to go ahead and select my channel 2 pump right now. I'm going to hit info to make sure that my volume infused has been cleared, and it looks like it has, so that's good. But you'll notice that right now channel 2 is on an intermittent setting, so I'm going to push and hold in the stop button. It's going to give me that same menu and the ability to go ahead and choose which setting that I like, and I'm going to go ahead and choose continuous. OK. I'm going to go ahead and confirm that with the OK. We said it's running at 125 mLs per hour. OK. And my volume is 500, but I'm going to choose to give him 250 mLs of that, and then it'll alarm when that 250 is in. So I'm going to hit start. So my rate, 125 mLs an hour. Volume left, 250. Infuse 0. I'm going to hit OK to start, and boom. You can see the green lights are on, and that tells me that I'm infusing. This one is blinking, which tells me that that is the channel that is selected. I can go ahead and rotate it over to channel A, and with that green light blinking, it's telling me that that is the channel that's selected. So again, I can put in a different amount of propofol if I like to. That is the Bodyguard infusion pump used by Lifeline.